Welcome to the Everyday PM podcast, the podcast where we discuss project management principles for your everyday life. My name is Campea. I'm the founder and host of the Everyday PM, and I'm so excited to welcome a very special guest, someone that, for those who have been listening for some time, may be familiar with. We have Rich Maltzman, who is an author. He's a professor. He is kind of an all-around jack of trades within the PM space. I know we're doing this as audio only, but I also have the new book that we will be talking about that Rich has recently authored. But he has also been on the podcast before, if you guys can recall, talking about great meetings and how to build great teams. And that was such a fun episode and a highly listened to episode, Rich, if you didn't know. So
Good to
we're
know.
super excited to have you back on the podcast. For those who have not met you through that or through your all of your professional journey, can you please take a moment to introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Thanks, Ann. Great to be back. So even though I've been in the workforce for 55 years, I'm going to make this as brief as I can. I consider myself a pracademic. Yeah, I'm a master lecturer at Boston University. I deliver a suite of project management courses. I develop new courses, even whole new degrees at the master's level at BU. So it sure sounds like I'm an academic, but my background is actually as a practical, practicing and practical electrical and industrial engineer. And in the latter two-thirds of my 45 or so year old career, I've also been a project management director and a PMO leader. So I would assert that the academic piece, which is definitely there, is built on a solid, real practicing platform of real projects and leading real project managers, mainly in the telecom business. But by getting into academics, I've worked with people in finance and insurance and travel, and pharmaceutical and medical devices as well. I'm very proud of the teaching and mentoring and coaching I do with master's degree students. It's great to hear them say, "Hey, I got a job." Um, and I take pride in helping students turn their weaknesses into strengths while maintaining their existing strengths. So that's my brief introduction.
If I were to pinpoint somebody who's active on LinkedIn that I actively follow is you, because there is nothing short of what you just said around the fact that you promote your students, you support them. I've seen multiple posts from you about students who are either just beginning their journey or just highlighting things that they've accomplished. And so I
Mhm.
think for what it's worth, you're doing so much good in the PM community, and we're grateful for that.
Thank
And
you.
speaking of good, you also, let's not forget, you also have authored a few books, and you're back to talk about your newest book with me. So your book, AI Powered Leadership, which to me extremely timely. I'm super excited that you're the one of the authors behind this book because I've read it cover to cover. I've actually explored whether or not, this would be a practical application for students, but for our audience, let's dive into what it's about. So, your book, AI Powered Leadership, explores the synergy between AI and human expertise
Mhm.
for project managers who might be intimidated by AI or unsure how to incorporate it. What are some practical, everyday ways they can start balancing AI tools, especially with their human skills in their current projects?
Yes, and the key word there is every day because
Yeah.
it's kind of the name of the podcast. So I
Yep.
have a two-part answer. This is the academic part, I guess. I have a two-part answer, and part one has two parts. So part 1A is to know what the power skills are. This word power is actually quite important to the book because we use a laser analogy. And lasers basically is light amplification by the stimulation of emitted radiation. We don't have to do the whole acronym. Um, so basically, it's about focus and cohesion and power. So power skills that PMI names are communication, problem solving, collaborative leadership, strategic thinking, relationship building, adaptability, innovative mindset, accountability, empathy,
hmm
discipline, for purpose orientation, and future focused orientation. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these. The book does cover these and their relationships with AI. But part 1B is why are they called power skills? And as a dual engineering degree person and a practicing engineer, I know that you sometimes, if you're an engineer or a technician or a scientist, call these people skills or squishy skills or soft skills. But really, and this is PMI's point, they're where a project manager has the opportunity to dig in and become a true project leader as opposed to a project manager. In fact, the word manager kind of chafes me a little bit because,
Yeah, me
you
too.
know, how are you doing today? I manage. So manage is almost a derogatory term. Instead, we lead projects, and often we're not even the highest ranking person in the team. We have vice presidents and directors temporarily reporting to us.
Hmm.
So I think you can shine as a leader. There's another reference to light. Um, if you look at these not as squishy soft skills that are almost kind of parenthetical, but really belong as a major arrow in your quiver. So that's part one. Basically, the understanding of what power skills are and the fact that you have these to use. Part two, and this is where the book digs in, is that you realize you can exercise these power skills without any AI assistance, just as project managers have done for decades. I don't
Hmm.
think the builders of the pyramids used ChatGPT -5. um, so you can do this without AI, but now we can take advantage of AI as kind of an agent to check ideas for us, to solve problems, and even help you, ironically, with the power skills, even empathy. And I'll,
Hmm.
I'll give you an example if you'd like, Ann.
Sure. Yeah, let's
Okay.
dive in.
So this one isn't in the book. This is a bonus for your listeners. But it's the kind of the flavor of what's in the book. One of your team members, Pat, has become detached, hasn't contributed much. They aren't turning over their deliverables on time. Other team members are noticing this along with you. They're frustrated. You, as the leader, are angry and confused. You start a strongly worded, rather harsh email to Pat.
Hmm.
But instead of hitting send, just as you're about to angrily hit send, right,
Hmm.
probably breaking the enter key, while you're in that state of mind, you take a breath and you ask AI, after providing some proper context to it, to give its opinion about the email you were about to send, and even ask it to provide other ways you might communicate this that might be more effective and productive. So I tested this myself, and generally it has a better result.
Hmm.
As our book says, however, it requires significant human first and human in the loop back and forth with the AI system. You probably will be surprised at how insightful and even empathetic an AI agent can be, especially if you have, and I say this word intentionally in a staccato way, if you have some conversation with the system.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would not have guessed that you can use AI in an empathetic way, or at least
Mhm,
in a coaching way,
mhm,
conversational way to get you to
mhm.
that level of empathy. I did not expect that we would be putting those two together in this conversation. And that example was a perfect explanation for those that were also kind of confused what you were leading into to better understand how empathy and AI can be, in partnership with each other. That was great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rich.
There are actually some studies, and this is kind of another bonus, and I don't have the reference at hand, but that showed that they surveyed doctor-patient interactions, and in some cases they were AI assisted or even AI generated, and they had a control group that was just doctor-patient. And even the doctors admitted that the bedside manner, so to speak, of AI was superior to the doctors, partially because they have hundreds of patients to look at.
Yeah, yeah.
And the AI system, if it's given the proper context, is working, you know, again, laser focused on that one patient. So bedside manner was considered better, even by the doctors, after
Wow,
reviewing their own responses
that's
than
fascinating.
purely human interactions. I'm not saying AI is more empathetic than humans. I'm saying that a conversation with it can yield a more
Yeah.
empathetic message to, in your case, a project team.
That's really fascinating. So let's consider this now because I know for project managers, we also have to think about the ethical piece of AI.
Yeah.
And I know that you've done some work in green project management. So, as a champion of sustainability in project management through your work on green project management, how do you see ethical considerations playing out when project managers try to incorporate AI into their everyday life or their everyday workflows? I mean, are there
Yes.
any guardrails that that we should be considering that we establish to ensure things like AI usage aligns with sustainability and the ethical practices around us, probably, within the organization or even just as an individual as well.
Yes. So a couple of things come to mind immediately. One, first of all, the book Green Project Management was written in like 2010 with Dave Shirley. All my books are co-authored. I have no books, zero books that I've authored on my own. I need a project manager to make sure the book stops getting written. Um, so yes, Green Project Management as a book came out before the Green Project Management certification and so forth that PMI is now properly pushing. And this is a really good
Yeah.
effort that PMI has put in place. Secondly, as far as guardrails, there are some bigger questions here than just project management. I say that, with all respect.
Hmm.
Project management is everything to us, but there's much more
Yeah.
to the world.
Yeah.
And there's a book called Nexus by, I think his name is Yuval Harari. It's outstanding. You should
Nexus.
consider taking a look at that book.
I
It's
will.
it's a thick book, but you mentioned guardrails. So the bigger question about the guardrails around AI and preventing a not really a takeover, but some really disastrous things that could happen. Um, Dr. Harari puts a lot of work into the history and the development of this tool, and what it could mean to us if governments don't step up. That's a tangent, but it's a really good book.
Yeah.
Great examples. So to your direct question, um, when it comes to AI and green, there's some very straightforward, almost purely mathematical things here, like the amount of energy that AI systems use.
Yeah.
Um, to for AI to draw a picture for you, um, or to create an infographic, think about the fact that some studies show that every image you generate is like running your microwave on high for several minutes, and you don't even get any popcorn.
Oh gosh. No popcorn. No, just kidding.
Yeah. But you get a
Yeah.
drawing, but it does, as of now, until they come up with better ways, to more efficient ways to process the massive amounts of information
Right.
that are used in AI, it's a carbon heavy um, thing when you
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you when you
Absolutely.
make those requests.
Uh-huh.
On the other hand, if that infographic is saving time, saving lives, I mean, it's a worthwhile trade-off, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
energy spent might be quite worth it.
Hmm.
However, Anne, I think you were asking a much less mathematical and obvious question. I think you were asking a deeper question. How can AI be more ethical? How can AI help us consider the long term to help us with triple bottom line,
Yeah.
longer term thinking? And the
Hmm.
answer to that is actually fairly simple. When you prompt, and really prompts are the first part of the conversation that you'll have with AI, in your prompts, be sure to include these kinds of considerations. For example, if you're working on a building project, for an apartment building, say a four-story apartment building, indicate that you're seeking a minimum of LEED Silver certification, LEED being a US-based
Hmm.
environmental carbon-based measurement of the greenness of your
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Mention that. Say that you're looking to have a minimal impact on local wildlife, that you are thinking about vendors and businesses and pedestrians nearby in terms of social benefits. And so that this brings you want this building to be built effectively and efficiently. You want it to make money for the residents, for the businesses in the building. So yes, economic, but also ecological, and also social benefits. If you prompt AI to think about those things, it will. And we're actually working on a new degree. We have a new degree at BU where we're integrating AI and we're instructing our students that when they use AI, these are the kinds of prompts
Hmm.
you should be putting into AI. So
Yeah.
guardrails, absolutely. Proprietary guardrails, so letting AI either search the web or not, letting AI put stuff on in public domain that you might not want to be there. Let's say you're working on a
Hmm.
new vaccine. You don't want that molecule just out there.
Hmm.
So there are definitely are guardrails that your organization will probably have. And then, of course, ethical guidelines. That's a little bit bigger question, and that's where this book Nexus is fascinating and helpful.
Oh, I've got it in my Amazon cart as we speak. So I'm looking forward to, after reading your book, reading that recommendation as well. But Rich, I can't help but think about every time I throw a prompt in there that's not quite right, that it's equating to the carbon usage that I can't get the bag of popcorn out of my head now. That was such a good analogy. Um,
Yeah, but again, think of the fact that, and I do this myself. I'm creating an image. Do I really have to have this picture, right? If it's really goofy or fun, then I pull back. But if it's something that actually is going to, provide benefit to people and in the long run save energy, that bag of popcorn's worth popping.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. So let's talk a little bit about, in the past you've told me about how you hyper focus on converting weaknesses into strengths, in particular, like with the students that you teach and or the teammates that you interact with. So could you share a story or an example of how a project manager might identify their team's weaknesses and strategically use AI tools to transform those perhaps into competitive advantages in their day-to-day work?
Yeah, sure. Um, Okay, here's an example, and the problem here or the weakness is silofication, if you can even make that a word. Having too many silos and
Makes sense to me.
people people staying inside their engineering or marketing or
Yep.
uh, research silo. And by the way, that happens even in universities, I can tell you.
Hmm.
So here's this example. Let's name the project manager Kim. Kim is the project manager for a new medical device introduction, a brand new medical device. Um, they notice there's a weakness in the team's cohesion, especially between the marketing and the technical parts of the team. I'm sure you may have run into that before. The
Hmm.
temptation, the temptation for Kim, and it's a good one, is to meet with each team, coach them. Hey, watch your jargon. Don't belittle the other team. Don't have the marketing people say, "Hey, just get that little software written, right? Little software. This is my life's work, right?" And don't say, "Oh, you just have to put out a little ad," and now you're demeaning the marketing team, right?
Yeah.
So you could meet with them and give them that coaching. Um, you could spend time reiterating the project's end value, begin with the end in mind, show them what this medical device is going to do. Um, that's all good. So Kim's doing a great job. But another way to accomplish this, perhaps more effectively, is to get some AI assistance. And I tried this myself. So I actually put this scenario into GPT-5,
Uh-huh.
and I got a very long outline, which I'm not going to read to you because no one wants to read an outline and you don't want to hear me read an outline. But I pumped the outline back into AI and asked it to summarize it in a brief, concise, powerful paragraph. And again, this is that conversation, right? What you get out might be beautiful, but not the way you want it. So you just say, hey, rephrase this, package it differently. And here's how AI responded once it did that compression. And I can give you, if you'd like, Anne, the full outline as
Yeah, that'd be
to put
great.
in show notes.
Yes,
So
will do.
remember the story. Kim is working with their team to try to prevent this kind of silofication, especially between the marketing and technical people. So here's what AI put in kind of a conversation. I didn't even ask it to do this. It put in a conversational mode.
Okay.
Kim, the instinct to remind each side to cut the jargon and respect each other is good, but the real breakthrough comes from shared experiences. Kim, you could run a short work group workshop where both groups define the project's value together and have a fun jargon busting session to build empathy. You could set up regular joint check-ins so updates aren't siloed and even have a buddy system, pair people across
Mm.
functions to
Mm-hmm.
shadow each other's work. Finally, anchoring everyone around the customer journey, in other words, what the customer is going to get out of this medical device,
Yeah.
helps both teams see that they're part of the story, not two competing worlds. The key is moving from coaching separately to building habits and rituals that naturally bring these two teams together. So,
Wow.
wow, that sounds like a mentor, like a
Yeah.
seasoned project manager giving you good advice.
Right.
So now it's back to me again. That was AI speaking.
Okay.
I want to stress, as it is the theme of our book, that you don't just run with this recommendation from AI. It's very good, but don't just run with this. You have to think about your own specific organization, the actual humans involved, right? Because AI does not know Harry, the designer, and AI does
Right.
not know Mary, the project marketing person. So put it in that context. Think about and relate to how this would play in your specific organization for this specific project. You, the project leader, you know the people, you know the culture of the organization. AI does not know that. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
can give it context, but they don't really know. It doesn't really know that well. Pick and choose the best pieces. Eliminate the goofy or hallucination stuff because AI does that.
Yeah.
Eliminate the stuff that won't work. Continue the conversation with AI
Mm-hmm.
by
Mm-hmm.
pumping back your revised ideas and asking for its opinion on this new, human revised version.
Yeah.
Always adding more context about your specific situation right now. And that's the back and forth that we talk about. That's the laser, and lasers work by bouncing light back and forth to become more cohesive, powerful, and focused. And that is what will happen. This is the theme of the book if you have laser-like conversations with AI.
Mm-hmm. And it's I love the fact that you continue to promote weaving yourself in between the dialogue or that conversation to
Yeah.
make sure that it's applicable for you and your organization. That's
Human
most
first,
important.
human in the loop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I will say, was it Kim was our fictitious character or
Yes.
there were some things that the GPT-5 said that were very interesting that I probably myself would not have considered as a project manager. So th that alone is value to you as a
Yes,
PM.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So Rich, we started this conversation, and when you introduced yourself, you described yourself as a pracademic, which I may or may not steal from you. Let's see. I'm
Feel
joking.
free. I didn't invent it.
But as someone who describes himself as a pracademic, how do you recommend project managers bridge the gap between theoretical AI capabilities? Because I still feel like we somewhat live in that world right now through
Mhm.
discovery, and practical on the ground implementation. And what simple steps can they take to experiment with AI tools without disrupting their current workflows?
Right. So I can't help it. I have to start with read our book.
Of course,
And that is
as you
true, but
should.
that's not the purpose of having this conversation is to try to help people. So here are some kind of bullet point, immediately actionable things. First of all, be open-minded. Don't reject AI out of hand. And by the same token, don't use it as a crutch. And this is one of the things that's a challenge for teachers at any grade level. When students start to use AI as a crutch, if you just automatically go to AI and say write an essay about General Lafayette, it will do
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
But don't do either. Don't reject it out of hand, and don't let it take over your work because you won't be adding critical thinking to
Yeah.
the mix.
Yeah.
So one, be open-minded, no rejection, no automatic acceptance. Number two, and I have this in all caps in my notes, so I won't shout it, but imagine me shouting this. You have power skills. Start with them, right? So understand what PMI is pushing for project leadership in those list of power skills. Look at how you might be able to improve them. First, step is self-awareness. Realize you may not be perfect at all of those things.
Hmm.
Okay. So start with your own skills and power skills. And remember, as I said before, human first, human in the loop.
Hmm.
Next one. I have 406 of these, but I'll only do the first five. Next one. Build your AI conversancy, if that's a word. Understand what AI is about. PMI has a really good series of 4 or 5 video training programs. In fact, I was there for the filming of the one that took place. They filmed in Toronto and Boston and Chicago, I believe.
Oh,
And I was
nice.
there for the filming, and this is very professionally done. It was filmed in our, what we call our Jenga building, where we have
Oh,
our
yes. Beautiful
conference every
building.
year.
Hmm.
And it was about construction in AI. Awesome, right? And even if you're not in construction, just an outstanding way to understand how AI can contribute. So take
Yeah.
advantage of PMI's own, of course, PMI has its own uh, chat system as well,
Hmm.
Infinity.
Yeah.
But get familiar with the terms. You should at least know what prompting is all about and best practices for prompting. And the last one, this is number 406. I'll jump right down to that one. Conversation, 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 like we're having. Don't use AI like Google or a search engine. You talk with AI and provide context. This is why it's called Chat GPT, right? It's a
Hmm.
conversation. Consider what it gives you as only a suggestion. Think of any actions that it gives you as proposed actions. Continue the conversation by asking follow-up questions like, how could we best implement this? Right? Think of it as a mentor or an agent or a peer that you're just having a conversation with to kind of round things out. As if you approach it that way, as opposed to Google, give me this answer, you'll be much better off.
This is great. I'm sure at some point you'll post the 400 other recommendations somewhere on your website or maybe LinkedIn. I'm looking forward to seeing those. Um, two thoughts.
That was a fictitious number there. The book, in reading the book, you come across all 406.
Conservancy is a word. I'll just
Thank
confirm
you.
that for you.
Thank
And
you.
while I know, Rich, you're very humble in saying that you came on here to help the community, which I agree with, you always do.
Mhm.
I do implore the audience that's listening to check out and read the AI powered leadership book. Because you are a pracademic, I love the way you write with your colleagues because you write for it to be practically used by people. And I think that's what I appreciate the most about all of the books you put forward for the PM community is that it's something that a new PM, somebody who's just interested in PM, they don't even necessarily have to be a PM to read any of the books that you've published. But I think in AI powered leadership, you guys do such a great job of bringing together the PMI kind of power skills with how that interweaves with AI tools and all of that.
Thank you, Ann.
So
We actually left project management out of the title semi-intentionally because we thought that this would have a broader reach.
absolutely.
And the feedback we've been getting is that yes, no, it mentions PMI, it mentions the power skills, it mentions project management quite a bit, but we intentionally did not put it in the title because we felt more more than project managers, project team members, and executives could get some benefit from it.
And I can attest to that. Absolutely. So,
Thank you.
Rich, if folks want to continue the conversation with you, they want to learn more about what you've published or what you do, where can folks continue that conversation or find you online?
Okay, so LinkedIn, as you know,
Yep.
I'm very active there. You can find me. I think I'm the only Rich Maltzman there. I think I'm under Exclaim. I think that's the profile name. Long
Yeah.
story that I'm not going to get into now. Um, but you can also go to about.me/Rich Maltzman. So HTTPS and all the other stuff, /about.me/Rich Maltzman. Also, I blog regularly at PMI's projectmanagement.com on people, planet, profits, and projects. Been doing that for many years. Probably the best way to really get in touch with me is to take a course at BU. You could do
Yes.
that online. We have a large online program. In fact, I have already 40 something students signed up for our general project management course, which runs 6 weeks. I don't mean this to be an advertisement, but if you ask how you can get in touch with me, this is a very good way.
More often than not, that's where I find you. It's within the
Yes,
classroom. So,
yes,
cultivating the future of project managers out there, and
yes.
I have had the honor of sitting in on one of your classes, and it's a great experience. So I highly
And
recommend that as well.
and now it's my turn to make you blush. You were awesome.
Oh, thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. So, folks, pick up the book. Again, this wasn't supposed to be about the book, but I also want it to be about the book because I love it so much, and I think the community will too. So, Rich, thank you for giving of your time today, having this conversation with me. It's always a pleasure to interact with you. Stalk you on LinkedIn. Sorry to use that strong word, but you are very passionate on LinkedIn, so I encourage folks to follow you there too. If you would
Great.
like to follow me, you can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm not as passionate or active as Rich, but you can also continue the conversation with me there. You can also subscribe to the Everyday PM podcast, leave us a comment about what you thought about today's episode. And until next time, for Rich and myself, take care.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.